In today's video, I will talk about the 5 best marksmen of Honor of Kings in 2024. There are currently 11 marksman heroes available in the game, and they have their own unique playstyle. But if we compare their effectiveness and strength, some of them are better in rank in tournaments. If we check the official tier list, it shows Hao Yi is the #1 marksman. Well, that list shows the popularity of the heroes, not actual strength. Anyway, this ranking is based on pro players' opinion and overall strength of the heroes. If you are a farm lane player and confused about which heroes to master, then watch this video till the end. I will show you 5 strongest marksmen and explain their key strength and weaknesses. So without further ado, let's continue.
An entire world is waiting to be discovered out there.
At number 5, we have Marco Polo. He is one of the few marksmen who can deal true damage to the targets. True damage ignores shield and all kind of defenses, making it very hard to deal with. Marco Polo can melt down tanky heroes like butter. He can constantly poke enemies in a line with his first skill. Also, with the help of his ultimate, he can deal massive AoE damage to grouped up enemies. You need to trigger his passive first to maximize skill damage. Marco Polo's second skill is a dash ability, which can be used to chase or escape. His early game strength is a bit weak, so you have to be careful until he has 2 or 3 items. Marco Polo needs to get close to the enemy to utilize his ultimate, so wait for the right opportunity to use it. His ultimate skill can be interrupted with a knockup or a stun, making it hard to utilize. Try to use Purify spell to avoid getting CC'd. Overall, Marco Polo is a strong hero against tanky heroes, and can deal massive AoE damage. Also, he can be very hard to deal with if you pair with support hero Yarya. A bit difficult hero to master, but can be effective against many lineups. Here are the top builds and arcana of Marco Polo. Now let's move on to number 4.
You another fan of mine?
Lady Sun is a late-game marksman specializes in burst damage. She can deal very high damage with a single enhanced basic attack. Lady Sun's first skill allows her to dash and enhances her basic attack. Enhanced basic attack deals additional damage and increases basic attack range. If there's an enemy hero in range, using first skill will increase her movement speed temporarily. Lady Sun's second skill throws a bomb to a target location. If it hits a target, it will cause 90% slowdown in marking the target. Marked target receives extra physical damage. It's very useful for slowing the target and can be used to clear lane faster. Her ultimate skill fires a powerful shot in a target direction, dealing burst damage to a single target and 75% AoE explosion damage. You can use her ultimate to finish up a target if they're far away. Lady Sun's playstyle revolves around her first skill dash. Poking the target with long-range enhanced basic attack is key to her strength. Lady Sun is very scary in the late game. Her burst damage can take down any squishy target instantly, but she has some downsides too. Lady Sun is an extremely fragile marksman. Any kind of burst mage or assassin can shut her down instantly if you're not careful enough. Try to position carefully and wait for your support. Overall, Lady Sun is a very strong marksman, capable of taking down core enemy targets. Here are the top build and arcana of Lady Sun. Now let's continue to number 3. At number 3, we have Lubin number 7. Lubin can dominate on farm lane against any marksman at early game. His passive allows him to harass opponent constantly, making it hard to win lane against him. Using any of his skills or basic attack triggers his passive, which helps to harass and poke enemies in range. Lubin's skills has low cooldown time, so make sure to spam skills to trigger the passive. To properly utilize his passive, you need to stay in one position. This makes his passive duration longer. Lubin's second skill can reveal enemy's position if it successfully hits. Also, this skill can be used to snipe low health enemies and steal objectives if you're lucky. You can push back enemy hero with second skill if they comes too close. Lubin's biggest disadvantage is mobility. Despite having good damage and harassing skill, he lacks mobility. Also, because of his passive mechanic, he needs to stay in one position, which makes Lubin an easy target for enemy assassin or jungler. You have to maintain position very carefully. Always use flash spell for safety. Lubin needs constant protection from his support, so make sure to cooperate with your support all the time. Don't move while attacking because it cancels his passive duration. Lubin is one of those marksmen that rely on his support heavily. He can be extremely effective in fights if you maintain a proper position. Overall, Lubin number 7 is a very strong hero. He can dominate and carry the team with proper support. Here are the top build and arcana of Lubin. Now let's move on to number 2.
There is always only one truth.
At number 2, we have Renji. Renji is a solid marksman capable of dealing continuous damage and slowdown to enemies. He is pretty strong in early game, so you can be aggressive from the start. Renji's second skill works as a Purify spell. You can easily dodge any kind of crowd control skill, except for suppression. If you time your second skill perfectly, Renji can even immune projectile damage from enemies and towers. His second skill is one of the best skill that a marksman can have. It saves you from lots of threats and ganks. Renji's ultimate can stun enemies for 1 second and reduce their defense by half. You can take down tanky heroes while the effect is active. There are 2 different playstyles of Renji that you can play. It depends on the build. This one is the most popular and effective build of Renji. You can deal continuous damage and slowdown with this build, also sustaining at the same time. Combined with Deep Frost Siege and his passive slowdown, this build can be very effective when dealing with enemy front line. You can use critical build if you want to try high damage playstyle. It focuses on high crit damage, suitable for quickly taking down targets. Overall, Renji is the marksman that shouldn't look down on. He is very powerful and can be deadly if used correctly. That's the reason he is on number 2. If you find this video helpful in any way, make sure to subscribe to help the channel. Now let's move on to number 1.
My wishes are about to come true one day.
At number 1, we have Arlie. Arlie is the hardest marksman of Honor of Kings, also the strongest one. Her aggressive playstyle and skill mechanics makes her very scary to face against. All of her skill has a dash, which makes it very hard for enemies to predict her next move. Arlie can easily kite enemies with her dashes while dealing damage at the same time. She has the highest number of dashes out of all marksman heroes. Arlie's strength depends heavily on the user. It's up to you how you control her skills. She isn't difficult just for skills, also for her aggressive playstyle. Arlie has slightly lower basic attack range compared to other marksmen, so you have to confront enemies directly to deal damage. Depending on how well you master her skills, it will impact on your gameplay. If you can master her skills perfectly, Arlie has the potential to carry the team solo. She is weak against crowd control and direct lockdown skills. Her playstyle requires her to confront her targets, which can be dangerous if the timing of your skill is wrong. Arlie requires perfect timing and precise use of her skills to be effective. You need to practice a lot of matches to master her. This is up to you whether you want to take the challenge or play an easier hero, but I would suggest you to take some time to better understand her skills and practice more. This is not a marksman for the beginners, so don't jump into ranked games because you see Arlie on top. Overall, Arlie is a powerful hero who depends on user skill and mastery level. Here are the top builds and arcana of Arlie. And that's it for top 5 strongest marksmen. Keep in mind that all the marksmen of this game are strong in their own way. These 5 are just performs better overall. Some of the heroes can get countered by lower tier heroes, so don't think other heroes are weak. Let me know what role you want